On this week's Gridiron Report, we have the Tigers, the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Masters, and so much more. So let's get into it.
In the heart of the city where the lights grow dim, grit and grind every inch, every rim. From the underdogs rising to the legends that win. It's the Gridiron Report, let the games begin. Every highlight's a journey, roads paved with fire, sweat, tears, and hustle that never expire. From the rookies on the rise to the old hands retire. Gridiron is the place for fans to conspire. Hustle on blast, beats thunder and loud. Champions are born from the roar of the crowd. The Gridiron Report, where the stories are proud.
Welcome to the Gridiron Report, your Lions First All Detroit Sports podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 9th. And damn it, Kyle, is this not the best April in the D we've had in damn near a decade?
Oh, man. April in the D. We talked about it last episode, but, I mean, last week it was the best. This week it's the best. I'm buzzing for April in the D, and I will for the rest of my life, you know? Yeah, I mean, we literally had a day where the Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons all won on the same day, so it's real special. We'll get into all three of these teams, but I think we should start with the hottest team in baseball, the Detroit Tigers. Just got a sick new Tigers hat. You didn't say anything about that yet, so I don't know if you were just waiting for the podcast to start, but I'm buzzing for this new hat. Let's get into one of the hottest teams in baseball.
Yeah, I was waiting until we were live so all the viewers and listeners could see it. So if you're just listening, jump over to the YouTube. You can see Kyle's new sick hat. I'm very jealous. I'm probably actually going to go out and buy one myself. But yeah, you're right. The Tigers are absolutely one of the hottest teams in baseball. They started the season, obviously, as we talked about, being swept by the Dodgers, and then immediately going and playing Seattle Mariners. When we were doing, looking at the schedule during the offseason, everyone knew like that first 6 games of the season were going to be, it's just a gauntlet of starting, how to start. And actually, think back to it, the Pistons kind of had the same way. We'll get into the Pistons later, but the Pistons kind of started the same way too. I think they started like 2-7 or something like that. So you look at those losses for the Tigers, specifically against the Dodgers, and we even talked about it. Like you couldn't take anything from those games just because that Dodgers team is quite possibly one of the best to ever be fielded in an MLB game. And when we talked about it, like they held their own. They didn't get murdered each game. Like each game, you could take a little bit of good things out of it, and you didn't even have a completely dominant Tarek Skubal in that series. They've done nothing since that series but proved like everyone wrong this offseason that said like, yeah, we didn't go out and get enough offense. This, maybe the pitching staff maybe will regress a little bit. Maybe the bullpen, the pitching chaos isn't going to work 2 years in a row. But they're playing fantastic, and it's coming from all over the field. The bats are coming alive. The starting pitchers are playing fantastic. The bullpen has been a little bit shaky, but I feel like we've actually had the lead going into like the 7th, 8th innings that we can throw guys like Kenta Maeda out there, and like he can give up 2 or 3 runs and it's still not going to matter. I feel like when we were playing the White Sox, at least both games, we were up like 7-1 going into the 7th. Kind of just threw some guys out there to finish the game. The Sox ended up scoring like 2 or 3 or 4 runs like to finish the game, make it a little bit closer, but it never really was that close. So like other than kind of the bullpen a little bit, this team is so incredibly hot right now.
Dude, it's so awesome. And like, first of all, like, thank God we're in the AL Central, which is kind of dog shit right now. We get to play teams like the White Sox, like 15 times in a season. I know, like, there was a lot of people last year that they were dogging the AL Central. Like, they're like, yeah, y'all got 3 teams in, but that's literally just because like everyone gets win. They're just farming wins against the White Sox. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna play who we play. We're gonna show up. So the Detroit Tigers, and yeah, just a huge sweep. Loved what I saw from the comeback, 4-3 dub, down 3-1 in the bottom of the 9th. These guys, they don't quit. We saw it last year. We saw it time and time again down the stretch last year. That these young guys, like they just have no quit in them, and it's really fun to watch. Like even when you're down, like this team is still in it. Huge shout out to Torque for a walk off, just taking a seeing eye. I think it was an off speed pitch, deep to left for a double. To walk off that series win. So yeah, I mean they've now won 3 series in a row, or is it 4 now? With because technically they've already won this Yankees series, right? Or it might be 3 now. Mariners, Sox, and now Yankees. But yeah, I mean Yankees are in town for a 3-game series, and yeah, the Tigers already picked up 2 dubs there before heading to Minnesota for 3 games. So yeah, I mean I think I said it, but I think they're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. They've ripped off like I think five straight wins. Yeah, you mentioned it, Ty, but the kids are batting, and it's awesome to see. They're mashing the ball. I think as of like 2 days ago, this might have changed, but Riley Green had the 13th highest OPS in baseball. Torque had the 17th highest. I think he's actually up now to 14. So, yeah, just the young bats, they're coming alive, and it's awesome to see. And they're playing, I guess a couple more winnable series right now going to Minnesota. Minnesota off to a pretty slow start. They're 3-7 right now. And yeah, Scooby on the mound today pitched another gem. That's just what he does. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
I think each game in each series, you've been able to kind of pick one or two things away. Like in general, they've been great, right? Because we've gotten away with the wins. But I think each game in each series, we've been able to pick one or two things that specifically was really great. So obviously Spencer Torkelson, he's not been very good with the bases loaded. There's been multiple times just based on where he's batted in the lineup and such that he's been up to bat in the ninth inning, and there's guys on base and, where we really need something from our number one overall draft pick, and he has fallen flat on his face. So to see him get that walk-off finally, I think it was his second walk-off in his career, was fantastic. And to be honest with you, the way he's been playing this season, when he got up to bat, I expected him to do that, which is not a feeling I've ever had with Torkelson. So it's been really great. You have guys like Andy Ibanez, who going back to last year, he matches left-handers. But then as the season went on last year, he did slowly start to fall off. If you dig deeper into his numbers, it started to fall off. This season, he started real slow. He finally got that going the other day, hit a home run. So he's starting to get going. I mean, like you said, everyone's playing really well. The Dylan Dillingers of the world, Jay Hens, everyone's playing really, really. Javi Baez, for God's sake, is playing fantastic. I don't know if this performance is sustainable, but I think especially from the comeback the other day, the one thing that you mentioned that it definitely is sustainable and was a really big question mark was, like you said, last year, the Tigers, when they were down in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, they knew they fully thought that they could come back. And they had this energy about them. They were going to fight and crawl and scratch until the final out was there. And for the majority of last season, it worked. Now, then you obviously go into the playoffs, you have that magical run, you lose in the playoffs. A big, long offseason to figure out if that still is going to carry over. It's a number of different guys on this roster now. And I think that at least that Torkelson walk-off kind of proved that, this is the same Tigers team that claws and scratches and fights. And I think that is as good of a sign as any that they're able to still kind of crawl their way back into games. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Riley Green is probably one of the only ones who isn't playing as well as we expected him. And even he's hitting 289 and is second in the team, tied for second on the team with 3 home runs. At the end of the day, we're doing all of this with all the injuries we've already had. We talked about it before the season even started, that you have guys like Parker Meadows starting on the IL, Matt Vierling. Those are 2 guys that were expected to be major contributors to this team. And so you kind of just wanted to just tread water, try and stay around 500 baseball until those guys come back. And they're, far exceeding it. You have Matt Vierling, who was just approved to start his rehab assignment. So he should be back in a few weeks. If you can get to June playing this type of baseball, and like you said, got a couple winnable series coming up here against the Twins. I think we go play the Brewers after that, who have been up and down for the past few years. If you can kind of stay like that and have your leadoff Parker Meadows come back and have Gleyber Torres, who you brought in, quote unquote, to be your offense this offseason and has been on the IL, for the past 9 games or so. This team truly has something special.
Yeah, they're buzzing right now. They're picking up right where they left off last year. And are my eyes deceiving me right now? Because I'm looking at Javi Baez's stats, and the kid is batting .318. I mean, we talk about most improved player for the Tigers. I think your pick's looking pretty good right now, Ty.
So I don't know, but I'm just looking on ESPN. I'm seeing 333. So either 318 or 333, regardless. That's anything 300, anything over 250. I mean, look, when we did our picks last week, if you didn't listen, go back to last week's episode and take a listen. Kyle and I just picked who we expect to be our MVP, who we expected to be the most improved player. I went a little bit outside the box and said it's going to be Javi Baez who's going to be most improved, just based that the team around him is going to be better, so that's going to kind of raise him up. And you're right, maybe that is actually going to come true. I don't think just strictly based on the massive sample size that we've already had this season, that Torkelson is playing really well, and you obviously picked Torkelson to be your most improved player. He's done nothing to make us disbelieve that.
Mm-hmm.
So Javi might have that award stolen from him just based on Torque playing well, but isn't that the best of both worlds if both
Yeah,
those guys
yeah.
are like neck and neck trying to fight for that most improved player.
I mean, it really just, it's a testament to us for being outstanding podcasters and outstanding fans of Detroit sports that like we totally called this. And I'm looking at really what the thing that stands out to me for Javi, of course, that batting average is looking great. I'm seeing 3 strikeouts. 3 strikeouts. I feel like last year he was averaging about 3 a game. So yeah, good on Javi. Hopefully he can keep it up. I mean, you know, we're not expecting him to slug 300 for the season. I think he's probably never done that in a single season in his career. But even if he bats 250, that's still significantly better than the 221 he batted last year. So yeah, keep it up, Javi.
I think, and obviously we mentioned the bats came alive. They look fantastic. They're putting the ball in play. They're taking what pitchers are giving them. But then on the other side of it, we always knew we had Chris Fetter, one of the best pitching coaches in all of MLB. Scooby, as I mentioned, kind of as to kick off the Tigers segment here, kind of got tagged a little bit against the Dodgers, as anyone would. You mentioned he was fantastic today against the Yankees, but like outside of him, Casey Mize has been absolutely fantastic. Has a .77 ERA right now, 1 earned run on the year, only 5 hits on the year. Casey Mize is just as impressive, in my opinion, as Spencer Torkelson has been, and both those two guys, like both taking 1-1, both at the time were consensus 1-1s. That wasn't, you know, the LA Raiders trying to or LV Raiders trying to be the smartest guys in the room and take a guy who probably was a borderline first round draft pick. They were guys that majority of MLB GMs would take, and they just hadn't panned out. So it's so great to see Mize back on the mound. He's battled so many injuries. And so, you know, he finally had a nice, healthy offseason working with Chris Fetter. So I think Casey Mize absolutely deserves a shout out. And tomorrow, when you're listening to this, it'd be today, we got Jack Flaherty going against, you know, the last of the Yankees game. I have just as much confidence in Jack Flaherty as I do Casey Mize, as I do Tarek Skubal. So it just makes me smile. Baseball, I can't wait for the weather. April in the D has been fantastic. The weather April in the D has been terrible. It snowed this past week. So like as soon as that weather starts getting sunny and warm, and the team is playing like this, it's going to be absolutely insane.
Couple housekeepings for me. And yeah, for sure. I mean, having a 1-2 punch of Jack Flaherty and Tarek Skubal, I think it's one of the better 1-2 punches in all of baseball. So super blessed to see that. And then yeah, I mean, Mize, we thought he was a generational bust, right? Never saw the field. Super disappointing. And you paired him with Torque, who we also thought Torque was a bust. You're a really bad team. You have 2 number 1 picks in a span of just a couple of years, and you swing and miss on 2 players. Like that's just horrendous for a rebuild. To see both these guys take off, I mean, it's awesome. It almost brings a tear to my eye. And sorry, quick housekeeping. When I was looking at Javi's stats from last year, that 221, which I assumed was his batting average because it was so damn low, that was his on base percentage. From last year. So he batted 184. So yeah, anything that we can get production-wise out of Javier Baez is just a huge blessing from last year when he sucked. So yeah, do I expect 320, 330? Obviously not, but 250 would be a godsend. So keep it up, Bobby.
Yeah, shout out my dad, who I know is a listener, is probably was leading the charge last year in the Javi, hate. He every time Javi came out to bat, and rightfully so. Javi swung at so many things outside of the zone. I think my dad owes Javi an apology. If he can keep this up, maybe Javi will win Grid of the Week one of these weeks coming up, and my dad will come on and they can both meet up and give a little apology there. But yeah, they won 7 of their last 8. They're playing fantastic. Carey's 19th in RBIs in the entire MLB with 9. Zach
Carey
McKinstry
hit another dinger today, didn't he?
Yeah, he can't stop. He leads the team with 4.
Carey Bonds, baby.
Zach McKinstry is 15th best batting average at 355 at the moment. You already mentioned Riley and Torkelson. It's awesome. I love it. Went down for opening day. Weather was cold, but one of the warmer opening days we've seen in previous years. Detroit's vibes were awesome. The team obviously won. They're just having so much fun with this team.
Do you think, just real quick on opening day, do you think they're going to start doing this more often where they send the Tigers like out west for a couple series just to let the weather in Michigan defrost a little bit?
I'm okay with it.
I mentioned it to my friends down here, and they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's probably just snowing in Michigan, and it was, to their credit. So
yeah, it does make sense. I saw that, we're trying to figure out what we're going to wear. It's that big question, is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? What's it going to be? Are we going to be inside? Are we going to be outside? We're trying to figure it out. And I noticed, I was like, oh, it's going to be like 47 degrees. That's going to be cold as hell. But then I saw on top of that, 47 degrees was one of the warmest opening days we've had in the past 8 years. So I'm okay with it. It does take a little bit away. that first pitch, of baseball in his back, and we'll have someone like Tarek Skubal starting the year as our opener, but technically it's our season opener, but not our home opener. So do you maybe try and line it up so like Tarek can start the season on the West Coast and then kind of come back around and start the first series here at Comerica too? I think that would be kind of cool, but I'm okay with it. Give me warm weather. I mean, I'm going to be down there anyways, but give me warm weather.
Yeah, please, Michigan. We're not asking too much here.
Okay, so obviously the Tigers are hot. They're red hot. The team that's really been hot all season and kind of slowed down a little bit towards the end here is the Detroit Pistons. So let's transition a little bit to the Detroit Pistons. The season's starting to come down. We have talked about it for, a few weeks, who we're going to end up playing. It depends on how the season really unfolds. It depends on what seeding we'll get, stuff like that. For a time, really, it was being decided between the 4, 5, and 6 seed to see who we were going to play, how we finished the season, based on a number of different quote-unquote injuries and or just guys kind of gearing up for their first playoff series, or a veteran player gearing up for their playoff series. We started to rest some guys, ended up dropping a few games. So we actually lost 4 of the last 5. And so that was against Sacramento, Memphis. We won at Toronto, but then we lost against OKC and Minnesota. So we dropped a number of games in there. But like I said, for a number of those games, you didn't have Cade Cunningham, who was out with a calf injury. Some people were getting a little bit concerned with that calf injury and the amount of games he was sitting out. I think it really was like he's dealt with injury issues in the past. We just want him to be healthy leading up to whatever playoff series it is. So I think it was a combination of that. Against Sacramento last night, so if you're listening to this on Wednesday, 2 nights ago, we didn't have Tobias Harris either. And if you look at the numbers of when we have Tobias Harris and when we don't have Tobias Harris in the game, it's actually pretty alarming that how much like Tobias means to this team. So I'm not really concerned with the 4 of the last 5 being losses, because at the same time, we were really gunning for that 5 seed, in which we probably would end up playing the Pacers. And you and I have talked about this on the pod before, that like I don't want to play the Pacers. I think we match up terribly against them. I think the Pacers are a really hot team. Halliburton had a really slow first half of the season and then has been playing phenomenally the last 3 months. So I don't want to play the Pacers. And I truly think Detroit matches up better against New York, and I think Detroit knows they match up better against New York. So I think it's been a combination of let's let our guys get healthy. If we drop a few games, so what? That just means we'll end up playing New York instead of the Pacers, and we'll handle business. We'll have a healthy, rested, legs from our veterans and our new guys.
For sure. I think that's exactly what the Pistons coaching staff was going for. Knowing that, most likely they were going to end up with the 6th seed. Obviously, we know now they've clinched at least the 6th seed. But looking back 2 weeks ago, it was more than I would give it probably a 95% chance that the Pistons were going to clinch at least the 6th seed. Just looking at how far ahead they were from the 7th seed in the East, which is now the Magic as it stands on Tuesday. So. I think it's super smart. Yeah, you got to rest your guys. It's a long NBA season, so rushing Cade back a week early or rushing Tobias Harris back just wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. So I'm really glad they did it. They still could make their way up into the 5 seed. Of course, they play the Bucks twice the last 2 games of the season, once in Detroit and once in Milwaukee. So we'll see what happens there. I think yeah, you're right. They do match up pretty well against the Knicks, although I will say the Knicks are playing pretty well right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. So yeah, they're a great team. I really love what I see out of Brunson. But yeah, I mean the Pistons have beat the Knicks this season, I think at MSG. So twice. Yeah, twice. Yeah, I'm not super worried about playing a team like the Pacers or playing a team like the Knicks. I think just seeing some playoff basketball in Detroit is going to be really, really awesome. It's going to be magical. We haven't seen it since 2019, and even those teams were kind of like
count that
pretty dog shit. Yeah, right. I mean, when's the last time that the Pistons have won a playoff game? I think they've gotten swept in their last 2-3 series. I think they set a record. I'm almost positive for the most consecutive playoff losses, or at least in the modern era or whatever. I think they got swept at least 3 series in a row. So. Let's stack up a couple wins, and I really do think that this first round is beatable no matter who they play.
Yeah, it's like we said. I'd rather these guys get healthy, but at the same time, you want to have some sort of momentum going into the playoffs, right? You don't want to be playing like that. Watching that game against Sacramento last night, Zach LaVine went off for like 44 or something. DeMar DeRozan had like 35 or something. So you had these guys that were going off against us. And again, it probably is just like tired legs and stuff. And we don't really care, but you want that momentum going into the playoffs. A lot will be decided, against the Knicks and the Bucks, like you said, are the last 3 games of the season. So we had the Knicks on Thursday, the 10th, the Bucks at home and LCA on Friday the 11th, and then we go and finish the season at Milwaukee on Sunday the 13th. So those 3 games, a lot's gonna be decided. Like you said, I think we're 2-0 against the Knicks this season, and we're 0-2 against Milwaukee this season. Both those games, I'm pretty sure though, like one of the Bucks games, Isaiah Stewart got ejected, and one of them maybe was like a buzzer beater or something. Yeah, exactly. So like it's gonna be difficult. I really I want to ask you this because I kind of had the same question when Michigan State, when March Madness started, and there was a lot of an analyst calling for Michigan State to make the Final Four. A lot of pressure, a lot of people. I mean, they were a pretty common pick to make the Final Four. A lot of people are picking the Pistons to pull that first round upset. Does that make you worried at all, or is that just completely? It's not neither here nor there. Don't care about it.
Yeah, probably the latter. Don't really care. It's cool to see that. I mean, this team has come so far that last year they were a laughingstock, and now not only have they made the playoffs, but a lot of quote unquote experts are picking them to win their first round game. I think it just speaks to how good these young players are and how much they've developed over the course of a year, and also how good JB Bickerstaff is as a coach, and also fuck Monty Williams. So yeah, sorry to rant a little bit there, but yeah, I don't take too much stock in it. I think it's really cool that we're even in the place that we are right now, and yeah, like I said, I think that the Pistons do match up really well against any of those teams who we could play, and I think that it's a very winnable series. That's why some of these experts are picking it. So get why they were doing it for Michigan State. They were 2 seed, easily second best team in that bracket. So and it's Izzo, it's March. So I get that, and I get this too. I think everyone has a lot of respect for JB Bickerstaff and what he can do as a coach. And yeah, these young kids are playing outstanding. Yeah, would love to see a couple wins down the stretch just to get a little bit momentum back. Cade, you could say, oh, he was rusty. He actually dropped 35 points last night. So yeah, I mean, it seems like the defense wasn't there. Like, hand up, I wasn't able to watch that game.
It was disgusting.
But, yeah. Just not a lot of defense. It's fine. It happens, Legs are tired at end of the season, but yeah, I mean, 35 from Cade. That's just what I'm fixated on right now. So not worried about a couple of these losses. Get the boys healthy, and yeah, April in the D with a playoff series, and I am so stoked for that.
Yeah, the only thing, and so next week, just a preview. Next week, we will know obviously who the Pistons will be matching up against. So we'll know exactly who we're playing, when we're playing them. So we'll do a full. We're probably going to split the entire episode. We'll do half of it talking about the Pistons and their upcoming matchup. So we'll break that down about half the episode, and then the other half we probably will do NFL draft breakdown as we kind of gear up for draft season towards the end of this month. But the only thing I'll say is this: I'll say 2 things. One, the only thing that worries me about like playing the Knicks, a team like that's been there, and I guess the Bucks as well, but like playoff basketball is a different energy. It's a different speed. It's like going from college basketball to the NBA is completely different. Going from regular season basketball to playoff basketball, that's completely different as well. So the boys better be ready. But the other thing I will say, like I said, we'll break it down next week. The other thing I'll say is that your boy's going to be in the building for game 1 at LCA. Woo! Bought tickets, so I will be there. Got to see the Tigers at Comerica in the playoffs last year. I will be down there for the Pistons for this game 1, whenever it is, against whoever it is. So you better believe I'm going to be there cheering them on.
Hell yeah, dude. I am so jealous of you. So pumped for you as well. Yeah, so that will be game 3 of the series, right? So let's hope for at least a sweep wherever the Pistons end up for the first 2 games, and then bring it home to LCA for hopefully a couple dubs. So yeah, I know you'll be cheering them on, man. And yeah, if we want to transition, guess who just scored for the Red Wings?
Let's go. I was gonna go transfer basketball first, but let's go We got to go Red Wings. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, for anyone listening right now, as we record Tuesday night, Wings are playing the Canadians right now. So yes, we should probably preface this by saying that the Red Wings are probably still dead, but I do like how they've been playing as of late. Yeah, a loss to the Blues in overtime, just an absolute puke of a loss, coughed it up with 30 seconds left, but then beat the Hurricanes and the Panthers, 2 of the best teams in the league. And now up on the Canadians, who the Canadians do own the final wild card spot in the East, and are on a 5-game heater. So yeah, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. Tyler, who do you think scored?
As soon as you said that, I switched my browsers to C, so I already know it's our
Oh,
boy
come
Larks.
on.
Larks assisted by Patty Kane and Mo. I mean, that's just like the three amigos, the three guys that you want to see out there. I'm so torn. Like not on this goal. Like this goal is fantastic. I'm so happy about this. I'm so torn about this season though, because at least last year, I feel like last year we had a better chance at this point in time. Like we kind of thought we were going to be in and got ripped away at the last second, obviously with the goal that was taken out of our hands, similar to the Lions a few years ago with that game. This one, they're just barely dragging us along. And so like we don't think we have hope, but at the same time, we just barely have hope. And then it's going to come down to it, and they're just going to fucking rip that Band-Aid off, and it's going to hurt like hell.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. So as it stands right now, Money Puck has us at like a 5.5% chance to make the playoffs. But I do see in our show notes you did put, so if they win out, which I think there is 6 games left in the season, or 4
6
games
games,
left.
yep.
6 games left. If they win out, 93% chance to make the playoffs, which doesn't quite seem real. But I mean, I'm looking at these notes. You typed them in there, so
I saw it on Twitter, so it has to be true.
all right, you saw it on Twitter. It's got to be true. 70% chance if they go 5-1 to finish the year. And of course, yeah, they're playing the Canadians right now. So picking up 2 points and then at the same time, mitigating any damage and, keeping the Canadians from scoring any points. That's big. So that's step number 1. We're not going to say they're out. We saw the Gritty Tigs last year. They had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs in like early September, and then they ripped off just an insane amount of games. So yeah, never count out the boys in the D, but as of right now, yeah, it's not looking fantastic. But
holy shit, dude! I'm just looking at this schedule because we're just checking how many games left. Montreal tonight, then we got to play at Florida again, then we play at Tampa versus Dallas, at New Jersey, and then finish the season in Toronto against the Maple Leafs.
Those are all playoff teams.
Yeah, we talked about it like at the end, like right at the turn of the season. We knew we had the most difficult finishing of the regular season, but that is a fucking gauntlet when we need it the most. Not only do we need to beat Montreal tonight, we need to beat them in regulation too.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't let them get a single point. But yeah, I mean, if my math's correct, then that's the last 9 games of the season against playoff teams. Like, and maybe one of those teams might have fallen out of playoff contention, but I'm pretty sure all those teams are damn good. So yeah, it's tough. But I mean, never count the boys out. We got to keep saying that until we mathematically have to count them out. But yeah, we're gonna keep fighting.
Yep, got it. It starts with tonight. You gotta keep, and this is a great start. We got Talbot in the net right now, so it's a great start from the boys. Got to keep this up. We'll keep you guys as we're recording. Obviously, if you're listening to this on Wednesday when it's released, you already know, but you'll be able to hear and watch if you're on YouTube our live reactions to every goal that is scored throughout the entirety of this podcast recording. So we'll keep you guys updated. Just like we said. Not out yet. Can't count them out. Just barely in there. And they're going to, damn it, they're going to string us along and they're going to make this as painful as possible. All right. First and foremost, before we even get into Michigan State, we got some portal talk to do. I just want to do a shout out. Like that Final Four was so awesome. And then even the national I know there's no Michigan State, so we didn't really have any dogs in the fight. Even the championship game at one point looked like it was getting out of control. I think I was texting in our group like, man, this game's starting to suck. And then it came back to be what a fantastic game. We knew it was going to be good because of like the Ken Palm ratings of all 4 Final Four teams. They were all historically one of the best teams ever. But that was both were fantastic Final Four games and then fantastic championship game. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Oh, so blessed. Yeah, I mean, when you get March sadness in the Elite Eight and, yeah, Michigan State gets bounced, sometimes for me it's like, it's fine. I'm obviously still going to watch the games. I'm not going to be that guy that pretends not to. But it's tough sometimes. You lose a little bit of that luster. But that was absolutely not the case this year when, yeah, like you said, four of the top best Ken Palm teams of all time, and that spans about 23, 24 years. They are all in this Final Four. So yeah, it's pretty outstanding from that standpoint. And yeah, what amazing Final Four games. I mean, especially that Houston Duke game. I think it's one of the better college basketball games, or I should say maybe better college basketball finishes that I've ever seen, and just like a testament to Calvin Sampson and his coaching, and really just, kids, if you're listening to this and you're watching college basketball, like, yeah, never give up, because like you could be almost down for the count, down 14, 15 points to, big bad Duke with the best player in the entire country who's going number 1 overall in the draft. It'd be so easy to just turtle and say, hey, we gave it our best, made a Final Four run, and those Houston Cougs, they didn't give up. So huge shout out to them. Came up just short in the championship game. Really, really heartbreaking finish. I actually didn't get to watch a majority of the game, but I saw highlights, and then I tuned in right for the end, right to get my heart ripped out. Not that I'm a huge Houston Cougs fan, but love rooting for the hometown team down here. So yeah, just overall, man, just freaking great basketball.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously Houston. I think they were down like 6 points with like 32 seconds left in the Duke game, and they ended up winning that. So yeah, to me, I feel for Calvin Sampson so much. We talked off pod about this. Like Calvin Sampson, in my opinion, he's good friends with Tom Izzo. He really represents a lot of what Tom Izzo stands for. It's a really gritty, hard-nosed defensive team. They're going to be diving on the floor. A clip surfaced on Twitter over this past few weeks about one of their drills, kind of like a war drill that Tom Izzo does, and they kind of just roll the ball out. And, I mean, they just go get it. Go get the ball, dive on the floor, do what you have to do to go get that ball. It's a very Tom Izzo-esque drill. And Calvin's older. I think he's in his 70s. That may or may not. I know they will come back next year. I think they're right now, the way too early season rankings has him like 1 or 2. So, like, it's not like he's losing his entire team. Like, he'll have another chance, but, like, feels like that was his best chance to get a championship. So I feel for Calvin because he makes me feel I relate him to Tom Izzo so much. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Let's jump into some Michigan State stuff. Obviously, we covered the games in which they won, and we covered the games in which they lost. Go back to weeks ago episodes if you want to hear those. But now we have some portal talk. So obviously, while the tournament was still going on, the transfer portal opened. We talked about it real briefly about how Michigan had a guy on their team enter the transfer portal while they were still in the tournament. And so the system itself has to be changed. But nonetheless, both teams are out. We have some guys that are joining the portal, coming to teams, stuff like that. We'll start with Michigan. So we talked about it when they kind of got jumping on the portal immediately. For them, they have signed Elliot Kudo, UNC guard, 6'1", sophomore, averaged 2.9 rebounds, 6.2 assists, and shot 34% from three this past season, which is actually up from 18% from three his freshman year. A former 5-star, really good, confident player. His three-point shooting is a little bit iffy, but obviously he did better this past year. So he's going to start in right away, basically probably and take Trey Donaldson's starting position, who Trey obviously jumped in the transfer portal. So Elliot Kudo transferring to Michigan, probably going to be the starting point guard. Then they went out and got the number one transfer on the market at the moment, and that is Yandel Lendenberg, I think I say his name is.
Sure.
From UAB, 6'9" senior forward. Again, number one transfer player in the portal. The AAC Defensive Player of the Year. Averaged 17.7 points, 11.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.8 blocks per game. So not only is he an absolute bucket, but he's fantastic on the defensive end. He sets the tone defensively. Again, 6'9". He's a huge wing who can really guard all 1 through 5, maybe 2 through 5. The thing with him is that technically he has transferred to Michigan, but his name is in the NBA draft pool right now. He has until June 15th to pull out, but at this moment he's still in Michigan's team, and we're going to count him in there. So essentially, they had the number one player to be transferred there. The other transfer guy that Michigan and Dusty May has secured is Morez Johnson, the freshman from Illinois, 6'9", 225-pound freshman forward. Averaged 7 points, 6.7 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, and is really going to be moving right into the lineup in the down low position. So essentially, and actually on top of that, Michigan also got word that Namari Burnett, who was likely to be moving on from Michigan via graduation, he has one more year of eligibility. I believe I saw that he is going to jump in and use that year of eligibility. So he will be coming back. He is obviously a wing, a guard, who is one of the better three-point shooters on that team. So essentially, Dusty May replaced 3 different starting positions with the transfer portal. Elliot Kudo starting. Their lineup is probably going to be Elliot, Roddy Gale, Numari Burnett, Yando Lendenborough, and Morez Johnson. So they're losing Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden, and Trey Donaldson, and they're replacing it with 3 top-tier transfer portal guys. You can't ask for much more from Dusty May.
Yeah, that's pretty big. And then another year of Dusty May in his system and implementing that. So I think I saw a way too early top 25 for next year, and I think Michigan was well and solidified themselves in the top 10 of that. Of course, that could change, but I think it goes to show that Dusty May is really leaning into this new age of the transfer portal. And to be honest, it's what you have to do if you don't adapt then you die, right? So yeah, I like what I see out of them. I think they're going to be a force. I think they're going to be really good. These are a couple really good pickups. So yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous about this U of N team next year. Of course, they had a pretty great season this year as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their recruiting class. It's just ranked 35th. I think they're bringing in maybe a couple 4-stars. Same with Michigan State, just two 4-stars that they're bringing in. I think both guys that are, just ranked like top 50 in the country. So not bad by any stretch. But yeah, if we're shifting over to Michigan State, certainly more worried. No one in the transfer portal yet. I mean, we can't be too surprised by that, right? Like, I mean, it's Tom Izzo. Like, he's kind of been fighting the transfer portal for a while. We got a couple good transfers in last year, Zapala, Frankie Fiddler. So I mean, it's proven that it can have success at Michigan State. So you'd like to see Izzo a little bit more active there. But I mean, most of the guys now, they've already committed, right? Like, we're quite literally one day into the college basketball offseason. Of course, the championship was yesterday, and already most of the guys, because of how it's set up, it's been open for weeks. A lot of guys have already committed. So to be honest, I don't really know who's left. I think we're targeting a couple guys, right?
Yeah, so I'll say a few things. One, yes, a lot of guys have committed, but this time last year, we were in the same position. We had not signed Shimon Zapala or Frankie Fiddler at this point last year. Now, I will say, if that's who we go out and get, two guys like that, I think that's based on especially how Michigan has handled this offseason. I think that's an absolute loss if we come back with a Frankie and a Zapala. But real quick, going back to Michigan real quick, that's what Dusty May has done his whole career, right? His whole team this past season was based on transfers, because coming from FAU, Vlad and Danny Wolf, both transfers. When he was playing or coaching for FAU, that's kind of how a smaller school like that has to operate in the transfer portal, because you're going to have guys, you're going to bring guys in, you're going to have guys use FAU as a launching pad to bigger and better programs. So you kind of be ready to bring new guys in, have guys be lost. So Dusty May, I know, that's what he's been doing. So I'm not surprised there. But you're right. We are looking Michigan State wise at a few guys. So who knows? No one knows what Tom is thinking. Tom Izzo doesn't do what anyone thinks he should do. If you thought last year at this point in time that Zapala and Frankie were going to be our guys that we were targeting, I probably would have called you crazy. So these guys probably will end up elsewhere. But the three guys that are heavily being linked to Michigan State, you have one, Malik Moore, 6'5" junior guard from Montana. He has shot 41% from three, so an elite three-point shooter. 1 year of eligibility left. Last year, he averaged 12.6 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 2.4 assists. So a good-size wing slash guard who can light up the threes. It's something we'll get into our potential lineup here in a second, that like this team is desperately going to need that 41% from three. So he's an option that is being heavily linked to the Spartans. You have Victorious Miller, who, shout out all team name, Victorious Miller.
Yes.
6'5".
Don't even care how he plays basketball. I need him on my team.
I mean, yeah, and he's a freshman from LSU nonetheless. So Victorious on LSU, yeah, for sure. So 6'5" freshman guard. Last year he averaged 8.9 points, 2.4 rebounds, and 1.2 assists. He did not shoot the three ball pretty well. I don't have it in front of me. I think he shot like 31% from three. So kind of just an all-around scorer. But again, he was a freshman. Malik Moore only has 1 year of eligibility left. So like there's a big difference. There's a chance Victorious could, and I just love even saying that, there's a chance Victorious could develop that three-point shot. The final guy, I think there actually is real steam and smoke behind those two guys, or I should say fire behind those two guys. The third guy that we're looking at, been rumored, but at the moment, he definitely is one of the top targets left on the market. So I just don't see Izzo shelling out the money that it'll take to get him. But that last guy is RJ Lewis from St. John's. So RJ, 6'6" junior wing, last year averaged 18.2 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.0 assists, and shot 34% from three. So just kind of a level keel, even keeled three-point shooter, but just an all-around bucket. Was a leader for that St. John's team, played really, really well. Somebody that like would transform this team. So like you go out and you get these three guys is a completely different team. Like Michigan, they have a completely different team next year than they had last year. If you go out and get these three guys, that's a completely different team you're looking to put on the court next year. Yeah,
absolutely. So we'll see. Hopefully, we can get in this portal and get a couple of guys, because I mean, just looking at the lineup, yeah, it's not looking fantastic to me. I'm just looking at it on paper. I mean, Fears, freshman coming in, Jordan Scott, who's an athletic wing, but he's only a freshman, and really, I think we were kind of looking at his scouting report before we got on here, and he's a bit raw, a bit underdeveloped, so he's going to take some time, right? Of course, Cohen Carr Jackson, love what we saw from Jackson Kohler down the stretch. And then Carson Cooper, very up and down season in my opinion. So I think that lineup, like, it's really no offense to those guys. I think it's just not going to get the job done, especially against a Michigan team, your rival, who is getting significantly better. So I think we need more out of the portal in this one.
That's a big team. That's a tall team because essentially, like you said, having a lineup of possibly Fears, Scott, Carr, Kohler, Cooper. You have Scott, who is 6'7", Carr, who's 6'7", Kohler, who's 6'9", Carson Cooper, 6'11". So, like, that's a big 2 through 5, but that is absolutely zero perimeter shooting. You have Jeremy Fears, who, like, every now and again they'd leave open and he would throw up a 3 and it would hit it. So he was probably hitting actually at like 37% from 3 or something, but he was only taking like 0.5 per game. So you absolutely desperately need a 3-point specialist, so like Malik Moore, I would consider him a 3-point specialist, 41% from the perimeter. RJ Lewis, not a 3-point specialist, but a bucket. So, like, if you can get those guys, you're looking at a new lineup of like Jeremy Fears, Malik Moore, and then I would probably go RJ Lewis at the 3, Colin Carr at the 4, and then Carson Cooper at the 5, and then you can kind of play around with Jackson Kohler in there in the 5, give Victorious Miller some time there, and that's all saying that guys like Trey Holloman end up not coming back to Michigan State. We got word today that Jace Richardson has entered the NBA draft. Obviously, like we mentioned with Lindenborough from Michigan, he has until June 15th to officially pull out. But everything I'm hearing is that he has entered the draft with the intention of staying in the draft, projected first-round draft pick. So, like, it makes sense. I think we can pretty confidently count him out. There's still a world in which Trey Holloman comes back. I don't see it personally. I think he is onto different things. I want nothing but the best for him. But, like, there is a world in which he could come back and provide that 3-point specialist role that we really need.
Sure. I mean, we definitely need him back. I mean, it's no hard feelings if he's, entering the portal, maybe getting a better NIL deal from Michigan State. It's fine. I mean, we got money to throw around. Like, give the kid some money. I think we absolutely need him back. But just real quick housekeeping. You mentioned Houston actually going back to Calvin Sampson and that they're ranked so high next year. I found out why. I was looking at recruiting classes. They're bringing in the number 1 center in the country. He's a 5-star, 7th best player in the country. And then the number 4 shooting guard and the number 3 point guard in the entire country. And those 3 guys are 4 of the top recruits that Houston has ever had in the history of their program, or at least since 247 Sports has been around for the past 30 years. So I think they're going to be reloading just fine. They're going to be a force.
And they're bringing back a number of guys who just started on their championship or their runner-up season. That's a great reminder because I had one more point to make about that. We talked about Calvin Sampson emulating Tom, kind of being that old school kind of nose guy. Calvin Sampson, one of his lead players this season was LJ Cryer, who came from a Baylor team that won a national championship, was one of the top transfers in the portal. So, like, even Tom's peers who, like, we equate, like, these guys are very similar. They're using the portal and going out and getting the top guys, and it's different. It all comes down to NIL, who the sponsors are, who's getting out money, stuff like that. I know maybe the Spartans don't have as much opportunities as Houston does, but Calvin Sampson did it. Tom's got to be able to do it. If we come out of this portal window with guys like a Frankie Fiddler and a Shimon Zapala or less, like, because we don't even have anyone right now, it's a definite disappointment.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough season if that's the case. I mean, in Tom we trust, but I mean, it's just looking at the lineup now, it's not enough firepower. So, Tom, you got to get it done, man.
Yep, get it done. Okay, so let's see. Going through our show notes here, we have one more thing to kind of go over and discuss, and then we'll get to some grit of the weeks. But to kind of lead us into our last segment before the grit of the weeks, just a little something for the people here. Hello, friends.
Oh.
All right, so that is obviously the Masters. It is Masters week starting up here shortly. I'm going to be just kind of straight up honest with the people. It gives people the chills. That I love that. Hello, friends. I love the little piano intro there. But kind of like when we were talking about March Madness, talking about the teams that Michigan and Michigan State are going up against. Like, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit everyone and talk about how, I've been watching all these teams. I know everything about them. I'm not going to come up here and say I know everything about golf. I'm actually quite literally not a golf watcher. I watch it every now and again. I will throw the Masters on when it's on, over the weekend and, everyone's talking about what's going on. I'll throw it on in the background, but I'm definitely not the Masters guy. So I'm going to be here as the co-host of this podcast to ask the dumb questions, to figure out what it is us non-golf watchers need to learn about the Masters, while you give us the lowdown. Let's go through some betting odds and who we think is going to win.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. You're the facilitator in this podcast for sure. Dish me the rock on this one, Ty. I'm glad to take it. Yeah, Masters week, incredible week. I mean, the Masters, it's in my opinion the most exclusive event in all of sports. Like you just can't go to it. You can't be like, oh, I'm rich, I'm just gonna buy tickets. Just doesn't work like that. There's a lottery system. There's a lot of class involved to even go to an event as exclusive as the Masters, and that's what makes it so special, man. And yeah, best event in golf, one of the best weekends of the year for me. Just love relaxing on my couch, literally not doing anything. Maybe going out, hitting the range, pretending I'm Tiger Woods for a little bit, but yeah. You mentioned betting odds. Yeah, there's a couple golfers who are especially hot right now. But I mean, the betting odd, the favorite has to be Scotty, the reigning champ, right? He's plus 450, 4.5 to 1 to go back to back in the Masters. I think Scotty is coming off maybe a bit of an injury. I'm not sure what it is, but he's not playing his best right now. But still, he's the odds-on favorite, and for a reason. He's one of the best golfers, if not the best golfer in the world. So you got Scotty at 450. Rory at 650. I will say probably the hottest golfer in the world right now. Already has picked up 2 wins on the season, including winning at the Players. So yeah, he's red hot right now. You got guys like Jon Rahm who have already won a green jacket at 16 to 1. Colin Morikawa playing some really good golf right now, 18 to 1. Bryson DeChambeau plus 20,000. Xander Schauffele just behind him, plus 22,000. And then JT, Justin Thomas, who is playing some pretty decent golf himself after an up and down a couple of years in his career. So he's plus 2,500, so 25 to 1. And I mean, of those guys, of course, I mean, the field is way bigger than that. Those are just some of the favorites that I have my eye on particularly. Of those guys, I'm going with a man who has not donned the green jacket yet, despite having an illustrious career, really, really fantastic golf career. Hasn't got it done at Augusta, and has actually kind of crumbled and played like shit at Augusta throughout his career, but I think he gets it done, and that is Mr. Rory McIlroy. Like I said, I think he's the man to beat right now. I think he's playing some outstanding golf, already 2 wins on the season. Won the Players in a playoff match, which was really spectacular. He's my pick, but I am sprinkling Justin Thomas as well at 25 to 1. So, maybe get rich, kids.
Yeah, so just looking at the pairings and the tee times, you have, let's see, so we have Colin Morikawa teeing off at 9:47, Scotty Scheffler and Justin Thomas 10:15, Spieth
Nice.
at 10:26, Jon Rahm, Wyndham Clark, and Tommy Fleetwood all together at 11:34, Adam Scott, Xander Schauffele just after 1. And then Rory at 112, Bryson DeChambeau at 123. So some pretty good pairings there. I mean, like I said, I'm not a golf watcher. I think if I'm gonna pick somebody I'm gonna say Xander
Who you
Schauffele.
sprinkling?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Xander at plus 2,200. He's gonna be my guy. I said, he's. What time did I say he's teeing off at? 101. So I'm going to be watching him also with Victor Hovland. So he's going to be my guy.
Nice. Awesome. Love that pick. I mean, he won a major last year, I believe. Last year. And yeah, he's a tremendous golfer, man. Callaway guy. So man, after my own heart as a guy who also plays
Me
Callaway
too.
clubs.
As I do too.
Way worse. Yeah, we're both Callaway guys, confirmed. Callaway, no free ads, but sponsor us, please. But yeah, love that pick. Love the Zan pick. And I'm pumped. I feel like, I don't know, I haven't been following golf too closely this year. I think the Masters is kind of where, it sucks me back in. Of course, we had a bunch of other, great sports. We still do, right? But this is when you really start following golf, because when major season starts. Before that, for me, it's all kind of like preseason in a way. I know it's not actually, but yeah, regardless, I'm super pumped. I think I'm gonna go to the range and hit some balls, pretend I'm these guys teeing off at Augusta, and probably shank one. But yeah, I'm pumped for the Masters, man.
You've got that sick golf course we played down in Houston. It's a replica, right?
Yeah. Tour 18. We're giving free ads out just like all day right now. Yeah. But Tour 18, who famously has Amen Corner featured in 3 holes, which is really, really awesome. And I think every time I play there, I go like, +2, +3, +8 on those holes. But yeah, it's always a ton of fun.
Yep. So yeah, we'll be tuning in next week. We'll have an update on that to talk about, who is the winner of the Masters and whether we were right with our bets and whether I picked anyone that was even worth picking. So let's finish up the show with our grit of the week. Have a number of different guys that we can go here. Obviously, we have the Tigers starting. If you wanted to give it to someone in college basketball, someone for the Red Wings and their kind of push, and Cade for coming back, dropping 20 or 35 in his triumphant return from the calf injury. But for me, I will go ahead and start. And it's the guy who literally won us a game this past week, and that's Spencer Torkelson. We talked about him last week. I think was it last week or at least 2 weeks ago, in which we both gave him I think it's after that first series, or maybe after the Seattle series, we both gave him the grid of the week. So Spencer Torkelson racking up the GOTWs this season so far with 2 of them, or I guess now it's 3 of them. I mean, this season so far, he's 11 games in. He has 42 at bats, 8 runs, 13 hits, 5 doubles, no triples yet. Got to get a triple from the kid. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 6 walks, which is impressive. He's someone that has not been hitting the fastball really well, and he's seen the ball really well. 6 walks, an average of 310, slugging of 643. I mean, OPS of 151. I mean, he's been fantastic. Even having the walk off there to win us that game.
Yeah, he's outstanding. And man, I don't know if you looked at the show notes or because I figured you gave him grid of the week last week. I'm like, he ain't going back to back. Like, I'm definitely giving it to Torque, and here you go, you're giving it to Torque. So yeah, I'm not changing my pick. It's Torque too. This guy's just stacking up hardware. So Spenny, anytime you want to come on the pod and accept your now mountain of grid of the weeks, please be my guest. But yeah, we mentioned it. I think he's up to 14th now in the entire MLB in OPS. I mean, he's raking, and I think you did mention it too, that he just looks so much more confident at the plate, where last year you could almost see it in his eyes where he steps up to the plate, he's just swinging, he doesn't know what's going on, and this year he's so much more confident. He's waiting for his pitches. He's not pulling a Javi and just, before the pitches even come in, he's like, yeah, I'm going to swing. He's actually seeing the ball so much better, and his approach at the plate is really what stands out to me. And yeah, he had a walk-off. I think it's only his 2nd or 3rd career walk-off hit. So yeah, it's great to see. Keep it up, Spenny. And he's just looking like he's having fun out there, as is all of the Tigers. These are a lot of young guys in their early to mid-20s, and they're vibing. AJ Hinch has the boys absolutely rolling. So grid of the week, Torque. Congrats, kid.
Yeah, it's something we didn't mention when we were talking about the Tigers, that it would be interesting because Gleyber Torres right now, we was brought in this offseason to play second base. He only came to Detroit because we were going to let him play second base. Everyone else in the MLB wanted to move him to third base. He had no interest in doing so, so we said we're going to let him do that. In that move to Gleyber going to second, that involved essentially putting Colt Keith, who had earned the roster position. We got his big contract last year, moving Colt Keith, who's normally a second baseman, over to first base. And then Torkelson was going to battle it out to see if he kind of deserved to be on the roster as a potential DH, see if there's a spot for him on the roster. There would be kind of a big controversy right now when Gleyber comes back, because right now, because Gleyber's out, Colt just kind of slid back to his natural second base position. Torque was able to go into first. It all is working out. When Gleyber comes back and it goes back to second, it's the Torque versus Colt kind of conversation. Unfortunately, Colt is one of the ones who isn't really having that great of a start to the season, only batting 194. So there really isn't going to be controversy there. And rightfully so. I'm glad that Torkelson can just man his position. I like him at first base. I actually have always thought he was a really good first baseman. I don't know if the numbers back that up, but I always figured he saves a decent amount of runs. He can stretch pretty far, and I like him there. So yeah, another good of the week to Spencer Torkelson. Again, so that's 4 on the season. He is easily already leading the way for the Tigers, leading the way probably in general for most people that, how many in general one individual has. So shout out to him. Come on the podcast, talk about what you did. If you notice this season compared to last year, how many times we see him just literally not even move. He just watched the fastball go down, didn't even look at it. And he's just not doing that this year. So come on the podcast, talk about, what you changed in your stance, what you changed to make it more athletic, what you're able to do this year to make it work, because it absolutely is. And we'll see if he can keep it going and see if he can get it to 5, maybe even 6 for next week. Okay. So that is it for our episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can find Kyle on Twitter at Kyle_Marino. You can find me on Twitter at Dutton_Tyler, and both at Piston Powered and Champaign Athletics. You can follow the podcast itself on Instagram at Gridiron Report, on Twitter at Gridiron Report 1, or you can watch us on YouTube at Gridiron Report. You can see Kyle in his brand new Tigers hat. and me next week when I go out and buy that exact same new Tigers hat. I'll finally join the conversation next week by calling into the Gridiron Report voicemail for us to play and discuss on the podcast. That number is 313-306-7939. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing next week's episode, a half breakdown of the Pistons matchup for the first round of the playoffs, and the other half likely going to be an NBA draft breakdown, or excuse me, NFL draft breakdown for the Lions, who we think they can target, who we think we need. So if you guys have any questions surrounding the Pistons or the draft or the Lions, make sure to call into that number. We will play it and discuss it on the podcast and open it up for questions there. And then finally, if you like this episode, please take a moment to rate it 5 stars, leave a review saying so, and then also remember to download, not just listen, but download. Downloads are how we are able to track our numbers and bring more content, Detroit sports content to you guys. But thank you guys for listening.
Thanks, y'all. Restore the roar and let's go Tigers.
A journey, roads paved with fire, sweat, tears, and hustle that never expire. From the rookies on the rise to the old hands retired, grit iron is the place for fans to conspire. Hustle on, blast beats thunder and loud. Champions are born from the roar of the crowd. The Gridiron Report where the stories are proud. Tune in, bring the heat, make your fandom a vow. Make the fandom a vow.